Hello, welcome back to Mark's Garden UK. In 1 week's time, this enormous crater which I've dug in the corner of my garden will be my wildlife pond, and in today's video you're going to see me install the pond liner. There it is, it arrived yesterday. I've also got quite a lot of pond liner underlay. I'll talk to you about this a bit more in a moment, but before I do so, let me go through a few of the features of my wildlife pond which you might want to include in your design if you're thinking of putting a wildlife pond in your garden, because despite the fact that this is quite a large pond, all the features that I've included can be done in miniature. So the first thing to point out is there's a deep bit now, preferably around 1 metre deep. In a week's time, if I'm stood here, I'll be up to my hip in water. Important to have a deep bit of water because it stops the whole pond from freezing in the winter time. Going out from the centre, I've got variable depths, different shelves, different depths of water, and that's to accommodate different types of pond plants and also different types of wildlife like different depths. Around the outside of my pond, I've got a ledge, and I took quite a lot of time using a laser level. I did a video on it to make sure that that was perfectly level and horizontal all the way around. The reason for that is it's got to house these big boulders. You can see boulders all around the outside of the pond here. They're going to sit on that ledge, and my neighbour's going to help me with his mini digger gently lower them into place. The reason for doing that is twofold. I want to hide the pond liner for two reasons. Number one, aesthetically, I don't want to see the pond liner around the edge of the pond, so I'm going to cover it up with these boulders and rocks. And secondly, that will stop the sun's rays from penetrating, because the sun's UV rays can damage a pond liner, so I'm trying to hide it from view as much as possible. Now over here on the other side, I've got this gradual slope which forms a shallow bank, a beach area here. This is going to be covered in these lovely beach boulders which a neighbour gave to me. From a wildlife perspective, that's really important. Imagine a rabbit or a hedgehog or a vole or some other mammal fell into the water. It can escape there on that gradual slope. It's also helpful for wildlife who want to get in and out of the water to enjoy the benefits of the wildlife pond. Now, as you can see, I've already lined mine with bits of old carpet. I put a call out into the local WhatsApp group asking for people to donate carpet, and fortunately lots of people came forward. Now, I was in two minds about putting carpet in a hole in the ground in my garden. I was wondering whether it was environmentally friendly or not. But the top and bottom of it is, this will have all ended up in landfill anyway, so it might as well be in a hole in my ground having a second use. And of course the purpose of that is to protect the pond liner. But it is belt and braces because I am going to be putting this underlay fabric beneath my pond liner anyway. Before I put the carpet down, I went over the soil with my rake and a fine tooth comb, and I took out all the sharp objects and stones and tree roots because they present a risk. You don't want them coming through and puncturing your pond liner, obviously. Now let's focus in on this pond liner. And you can see it here, nicely wrapped on this sack truck. It's on the sack truck because it's quite a heavy thing. That's a 9 by 9 metre piece of pond liner. And also I've got these pond underlays. Now, when I was shopping around on the internet, I found a company called pondkeeper.co.uk. And what I really liked about Pondkeeper was there's a lot of free resource on their website. There's all kinds of guides and information. And in particular, there's one that I'm definitely going to be coming back to because it's about selecting pond plants. I'm no expert on pond plants, so I'm going to be looking at that blog of theirs. Again, I'll put a link to it in the description box below this video. Another thing I liked about Pondkeeper was that they have next day delivery on virtually all their stock. And they have a helpline. You can actually ring people and ask for help and advice. They also have a little chat box. And I'm a little bit wary of these chat boxes because you never know whether you're speaking to a real person or not. Anyway, I put a question, and I did a bit of mystery shopping in actual fact. I put a question in and I got an answer off a real person within a minute, who then directed me and signposted me to lots of other useful information on the Pondkeeper website. So have a look at them if you can. And in all fairness and transparency, when I spoke to them and I told them that I was a YouTuber with a gardening channel, they gave me a very special deal on this pond liner. And I don't mind endorsing what they do because it's a very good service I've received. And looking at this underlay, which I've ordered here, Clearly the pond liner has got to be in one big piece. It's got to hold water, you can't have any gaps. The pond liner underlay comes in long strips, and that's industry practice. I was expecting a great big 9x9 piece of underlay, but actually they don't supply it in big sheets, they supply it in strips, and you can cut it to shape. And that's a benefit actually, because you don't need to order quite as much underlay as you do pond liner. For example, in my case, I've got a circular pond, so I'll be wasting the corners of the pond liner. In actual fact, I'm probably going to use them for a bog garden. But with this, I didn't have to worry about the corners. I've just ordered strips and I'll be able to cut them to shape and overlap them. And that's what I'm going to do next. So let's get on with the job. Now, I've bought a very sharp pair of haberdashery scissors here for cutting that underlay. And it goes without saying, it's pretty obvious, be very careful with sharp objects around your pond liner. The worst thing you could do is puncture it. That would be a great start, wouldn't it? I've also got a pair of gloves here to wear. Now, I've got time and I can afford to play around with this liner and make the most of it. So I'm just going to start off by putting a strip diagonally across here and covering all this carpet up. And because it's quite windy, I'm going to have to use some of these little boulders to hold it in place. It's a windy day today. I'm in Cheshire, England. It's beautiful, sunny. It's actually Easter Sunday. It's a beautiful sunny day, but it's quite a windy one. So I'm just going to lay this out and lay it down on the floor, and then I can start cutting it to size. Now, you don't want to see me do all that, so I'll record it all and I'll play it to you in fast forward. So just watch for about 15 seconds. I'll put some music to it and I'll come back to you in a moment when I've lined this pond with this fabric. So there we are, the underlay is down with one to spare, which I will be able to use for any patching up. Now, think about what the water's going to do. The gravity of the water, starting here, is going to push that into the contour of the ground. And as it pushes it down, it will also bring it in. So what I'm going to do now is just a little exercise where I just walk out and just make sure that it is pushed down into the contour of the hole, because I don't want it to be stretching and tearing under the gravity weight of the water. A few other tips: make sure you've got some weights to hand. Now, I'm using these lovely round pebbles. Don't forget where you've put them. And also, if it's got a slight breeze, as I have today, the breeze is coming from over there in that direction. Start over there and overlap it. Otherwise, as you can see here, you end up with the wind getting underneath it and blowing it up. And I've done this edge wrong actually, but just to demonstrate the point, you can see, overlap it in that direction. I'm wearing trainers today, I'm not wearing my gardening shoes, and obviously that's going to be because in a minute I'm going to be opening the pond liner and I don't want to risk heavy shoes on that pond liner. So there we are, plenty of overlap around the outside. Obviously the water's going to fill up from the bottom and take it up towards the outside, and that will give me the opportunity to fix it and straighten it around the edges before the water gets up to that level. Don't worry too much about wrinkles and ruffles, because in the fullness of time, when silt lands on the base of the pond and the water goes slightly off colour, you're not going to see any imperfections in the depths. So I would recommend that you don't spend too much time perfecting the wrinkles out of the pond liner. Speaking of pond liner, it's that time. I'm very excited about this. Very heavyweight this, so be careful if you've got a big pond liner, as I have. I'm just going to gently roll it down into the centre. Now, it was my intention to fill this pond by harvesting rainwater off the garage roof. I'm not forecast any rain for the foreseeable future, so I'm going to prime it a little bit with the hose pipe just to get some water in it. And I'm too excited to wait. I want to see some water in this pond, and I'm sure you do. And also, when it's full, I'll do a little video with it full, and I'll put a link at the end of this video so that you won't be disappointed. You'll see the full pond at the end of this video eventually. So let's get those sharp scissors and let's get this pond liner unwrapped and offered up. I've said it before, I'm going to repeat myself. Be very careful around your pond liner with sharp objects like those scissors. Now ideally what I'd like to try and do is find the centre of the pond liner and put it about here. I'm sat in the centre of my circle. If you can find the centre and put it here, the pond liner can radiate out towards the outside. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, because the best laid plans of mice and men and all that sort of stuff, it doesn't always work out the way I want it to. We'll see what happens when we get inside this pond liner. Now this pond liner is not the most expensive pond liner you can buy. It's a mid-range pond liner. It's Pond Keeper's Flexi Liner. And I've used this type of pond liner several times before. Sellotape. Double wrapped. Oh, and it's got a label on it. I might have a little bit of a look at that in a moment. I always make sure I cut these bands because they can get tangled up in people's feet, so I always make sure I cut those. Useful information, a useful guide. It talks about the guarantee. You get a guarantee with this when it's laid with a suitable underlay. It's an important point to note. Anyway, I'll keep hold of that and I'll have a look at that, and if there's anything really important I'll let you know. There is the pond liner. Let me get all this rubbish well and truly off site, and especially those sharp scissors. There you can see the pond liner rolled out, unravelled. Now I did a video on how to measure your pond, and the system works. It contours all the way along the bottom of the pond, and there's some overlap on either side. And don't forget, as it fills up with water, the water pressure will push that down into all the little dimples, and it will pull it in, so you will lose some of that overlap. And again, as with a lot of my gardening videos, you're watching me learn on the job, so I'm now going to try and unfold this. It's the only thing I can think of to do. I've got trainers on. I've not got any sharp objects in my pockets, so that will protect this liner from any damage. So let's go and unfold it all the way up the top there. I'll try my best not to put any pressure on it, but out it goes all the way up to the top. And I'll be very careful, because if the wind gets under this, it'll be in the farmer's field. So I'll occasionally put one of these round boulders on top of it, and out it goes again in that direction. This is just going to be a question of wrestling and trial and error until this pond liner is open. I'll give it you in fast forward again. So there we go, the liner is in place, and no doubt you will have noticed that I've got a hose pipe in my hand, because you're about to see the first bit of water go into my new wildlife pond. And don't worry, you're not going to be disappointed, because I will put a link to the full pond at the end of this video. A few last minute tips: wear soft shoes, put the overlap evenly all the way around the outside, put some round smooth boulders on the liner. They will be drawn to the centre as the water fills up and pushes the pond liner down. Apart from that, get some water in it and start to enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed that. Let's get the water turned on. Turn it on!